of protesters in Pakistan. This is in fact the US consulate. These visuals are from outside the US consulate. Horrifying visuals. 10 protesters, in fact, information coming in is that already are killed during these protests. As you can see, the US forces over there, which are stationed outside the US consulate in Karachi, are in fact retaliating, and that has led to the death of 10 protesters. Remember, there's a lot of anger on ground level, as those visuals you can see are of wounded, injured Pakistani protesters. A lot of vandal, arson actually taking place over there. All right, absolutely gory visuals over there coming in. As you can see, bloodied, wounded protesters being taken out. The US forces, which are currently at this consulate, are retaliating. They have attacked these protesters, and in the latest information that we are getting in is that 10 protesters have been killed. This is outside the consulate, the US consulate in Karachi. Shocking visuals, in fact, coming in. This is the latest video that we are bringing to you, which is showing how the attack actually has happened. There's enough evidence to prove that the consulate was actually attacked. Vandalism, arson, and many of the protesters, in fact, being taken out. Hundreds of people had stormed this consulate. How many other US embassies are going to be attacked? We do not know, because there's a lot of anger brewing within Asia. In India also, we witnessed a host of protests. But remember, as far as the consulates are concerned, they at least remain protected in India. Let's quickly, in fact, go across to Aman also, who will be bringing us more inputs on this news story. But remember, you're looking at an attack. The killing of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is not just the killing of a supreme leader of Iran. He was also regarded as the godfather, as the religious leader of the Shias across the globe. And so, even though Pakistan is dominated heavily by the Sunnis, there's a lot of anger in terms of why such an attack had to happen. The killing of the Ayatollah is not going to be the killing of, say, Saddam Hussein being taken to the gallows. Let me quickly bring in Aman on that note. Aman, as we've been talking about, the killing of the Ayatollah is not going to be taken lying down by the overall Muslim population, because look at the kind of anger brewing in Pakistan, a country which is in fact not even dominated by the Shias.
Very clearly, Akanksha, these visuals are from yesterday, exclusively brought to us by our internal security editor Manoj Gupta. These are the visuals when the Shia protesters in Karachi had stormed the US consulate yesterday. It was a very violent protest, and close to 20 people are said to have been killed in this protest when the US Marines, obviously to safeguard their diplomatic enclave, opened fire. And these are the horrific visuals you can see from the US consulate in Karachi, where, and it's a major consulate, it's a major place also in Karachi, and this was stormed by hundreds of Pakistani protesters to protest against the death of Khamenei. And today what is happening also, Akanksha, is that the US embassy in Islamabad has issued a statement saying that they are not entertaining any appointments today at any of their consulates or embassy in Islamabad. So US taking abundant caution.
In fact, even the policemen have been attacked over there. What we are being told, among the injured were 4 policemen. You said that 20 protesters have already died. Of course, the US forces are also retaliating against the kind of attack we've seen. Look at the visuals. The kind of arson, the kind of plundering that's also happening. They've completely destroyed the US consulate, and bloodied faces, in fact, of these protesters running out.
Heavy damage was caused to the consulate. Yesterday, Akanksha, we had got pictures of inside the compound when people with sticks were trying to bang at the windows and the grills. But this particular video, which exclusively is with CNN News 18, now shows the extent of damage which has been caused at the US consulate. You can see people with bloodied faces coming outside that, people injured coming outside from there. There are people wearing masks and covering their faces. So clearly they were trying to also hide their identity while storming the US consulate. But attacking a US consulate or US embassy on foreign soil is an extremely dangerous crime, and that is why I think the US Marines had to open fire to safeguard their property, to safeguard their own lives, and that is why we believe that nearly 20 people were killed in these particular protests. And today the US embassy is effectively shutting down for operations for the day, because the situation is still very tense and situation is still very fluid there, and they are expecting more protests, in fact, in Peshawar. Peshawar, in other consulates that the US has. That is why I think the situation is pretty precarious in Pakistan.
Let me quickly go across to Siddhant also, who will perhaps share more inputs with us. Siddhant, what more can you tell us, given that the situation as far as the security in Pakistan is concerned, it's already been on tenterhooks. Can Pakistan afford even further turmoil at the moment? Siddhant, can you hear me?
Right. So this release has come from, yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Can you hear me, Akanksha?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. So this release has come from U.S. Embassy and Consulate in Pakistan, and this release says that we are monitoring reports of ongoing demonstrations at the U.S. Consulate Generals in Lahore and violent protests at the U.S. Consulate General in Karachi, as well as calls for additional demonstrations at U.S. Embassy Islamabad and various other diplomatic buildings in Pakistan. Now, this advisory says that we advise U.S. citizens in Pakistan to monitor local news, observe good personal security practices, including being aware of your surroundings and avoiding large crowds, and ensuring your step registration is up to date. And in fact, this advisory also announces that due to protest activity around the U.S. consulates in Karachi and Lahore, U.S. Embassy in Islamabad, all appointments for U.S. visas and American citizen services are cancelled for tomorrow, which is 2nd March. So a big announcement coming from U.S. Embassy in Islamabad.
Right.
In fact, Akanksha, yesterday what unfolded in Lahore and Karachi, perhaps there was stone pelting at US diplomatic buildings. In fact, protesters barged inside the buildings. They created ruckus. Anti-America sloganeering was done by the protesters. In fact, the US Marines had to open fire on the protesters, and more than 10 people lost their lives. So situation is still tensed on ground, and perhaps this is the reason that this decision has been taken by US Embassy in Islamabad.
All right, Siddhant, do stay on with us. Of course, there's going to be a lot more to track there as well. We're getting in some more breaking information right now. Gold price rises. It helps banking sector, but of course, it's going to have an impact on inflation as well. Now, finance minister sources are telling us that they're monitoring this situation and will step in as and when needed. But this